show ni moto. Moto, fire. Sijui kama mlizima gas. We. Moto. Na sasa nataka kwanza watu wa tweet. Yeah? Watu wa tweet. Endeni ku tweet. Kwanza sasa tunakuja meme challenge. Sasa unaweza tweet. In fact, meme challenge ikipita sasa nasoma tweet zenu sasa. Sasa unaona? Alafu tunaenda kakilunda kakiendanga. Si ndio? Alafu masasi unajua tulisema kama mkono ya Murkomen. Si ndio? Alafu wewe kwanza cameraman hebu niambilie yule iko wapi? Haya. DJ kwanza mkirudi alafu kwanza kama challenge kakuje. Zina. Wacha kwanza nisome ya kwanza. Hapa kuna at Ruby Justas anasema DJ Mo tuned from Kasarani. Show iko on moto, iko on fire. Alafu kuna at Dennis Mukita anasema hey Amina waiting for Elani baby. Waboy unimaliza kai. Haya. Sawa. Wewe maliza tu na bibi yako wako hapo. Haya. Kuna mtu anasema anajiita at Naswa. Waluya we are doing better. Yani we are not stopping teenage pregnancies. Tunajua mnaongoza wapi? Karuma. Haya. Alafu kuna mwingine anasema another one anajiita Nzi Safi, at Nzi Safi. Another one has drawn a phone on. Kuna mtu ametupa simu na nimeokota. Alafu kuna a perfect DJ combination. Was everything is just awesome. Nice way to start the show. Haikustart wewe na wewe sahi. Kwani ulishika? Ai wewe a bit worried about the rise of teenage pregnancy. Hiyo ilikuwa imepita. Au sasa tunaingia lightning. Waiting for Elani baby. Wabuinde maliza. Tukiendanga ile side nyingine sasa ya. Haya Amina kwako. Na Amina ulitafutia chaja pi ndogo. Haya mimi challenge kwanza mtweet, si ndio? Hiyo ndio nakuja saa hii. Hata ndio hiyo inakuja hapo. DJ. Kuna watu wako graduation pale na nikiangalia hivi ni kama sura familia. Hawa ni watu wa tailoring with IT. Haya, sawa. Hiyo sasa ndio tuna tweet yake.
Ni butita.
Haya, tukiendanga. Tuko sawa, si ndio? Haya, kwako Amina. Aya, hapa kuna tweet zingine zinaingia. Kwanza acha niwaambie, last week nilikuwa nimeshikwa. Amina hawezi kuja kunitoa. Unajua nilikuwa nimeshikwa juu. Unaona mtu wa pikipiki akapata accident. Tukampeleka ICU. Sasa mimi nikaona huyu jamaa hizi survive. Nikaenda nikaoda ile tombstone ile ya kuweka kwa kaburi. Haya kuweka na nikafanya committee ya mazishi. Kumbe jamaa alisurvive. Sasa inalipia hii kitu. Alafu huyu mtu wa mawe ananiambia goods one sold one bought one free. Sasa si lazima nilipe. Sasa hapo mtanisaidia tukiendeleaga, si ndio? Na alafu mtu wa pikipiki ilikuwa ni anatembea, alafu unaona askari akifunga kazi jioni, anaweka bunduki hapa. So wakipiga bump, risasi zikatoka. Sasa ndio mtu wa pikipiki aliendanga hivyo. Haya, tukiendanga ile side nyingine tusikia wanasema namna gani. Todhie. Amina.
I like how Coconut calls me. He calls me like we literally grew up together in Isli and Kawangware. Amina. I'm just like, he's reminding me of a time I'm trying to forget in my life, you know. But that's how everyone actually calls me in my real life. So if you call me Amina, I know that we've known each other a long time. All right, so now Coconut, we call him Coco here, but Coconut is here today at the Trend Live. The hashtag is Hey Amina. Now listen, my next guest is she's baada amesoma sana mpaka nafikiria mimi hata hakuna kitu nimefanya na maisha yangu na hata sijui nini nafanya hapa na nafanya nirudi wapi, nafanya nirudi shule. All right, so now my next guest, Professor Elizabeth Bukusi. She has an MB-CHB, she has an MEd, MPH, PhD. She's a research officer at CAMRI. She holds an honorary faculty appointment in the Department of the Obstetrics and Gynecology at the University of Nairobi, a professional research position with the University of Washington. And that's just like, I haven't even gone, like that's just me scratching the surface. She's not here to talk about anything education related, but she's here to talk about weightlifting. Hi, Elizabeth. Prof.
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming onto the show.
You're most welcome.
Now, we saw you trending, a picture of you trended. Did you expect it to trend, and how did you?
No, I certainly did not expect it to trend.
Yeah, so tell us about, you going to actually, working out so much to the point that you're now, weightlifting.
Well, I wouldn't call it working out so much to the point of weightlifting. I would say that I was in the process of working on my fitness goals. And my personal trainer, who's called Frank, suggested that maybe I should enter the competition to give me a goal to work towards. I wasn't very enthusiastic because I'm a quiet person, so I wasn't looking for crowd attention or anything, and I thought I probably won't get very far anyway. So he kept suggesting it, and I thought, well, since it's within my goals to get fit, and it's not costing me anything to register, I can register, I can show up, but I didn't expect to get this far, to be honest.
Now, first of all, can we share your age?
Certainly, you can share my age.
You're 59 years old.
No, I am 57. I'm turning 58 tomorrow. I'm the same age as your president.
Aha.
Yes.
All right. So we got that wrong, unfortunately. We got that online.
We're birthday mates.
Your birthday mates.
Tomorrow.
Clearly. Oh, tomorrow.
Yes.
So we should say happy in 30 minutes, that is.
Yes.
So we should just start sending in early birthday messages, right? And wishing you, just a fantastic 58th birthday.
Thank you.
At that, I mean, what drove you, because a lot of 58-year-olds are not going out to do this.
What drove me? Well, in terms of staying or getting fit, I teach Sunday school. My church is Nairobi Chapel, and I teach a class that's called the Crossroads class. And every year, at the end of the year, we have a camp where we take the children. It's part of their transition process. And I need to be able to keep up with these 13-year-olds. They're pretty fit, for the majority of them. They're young, they're enthusiastic, and I need endurance. So part of what has kept me trying to stay fit is just to be able to keep up with them. But in addition to that, now I have 2 grandsons. One is 2 years and 4 months, one is just 5 months. And I'd like to be the grandmother who can play with them, who can spend time with them, not sit on a couch and send them. So that has been a motivation for me getting fit. But in terms of weightlifting, I didn't weightlift for a long time. I was enthusiastic about doing aerobics. It's fun, doing Zumba, things that are interesting when you get to a gym. But then I had a slight injury a couple of years ago when I slipped, and then I couldn't keep up with that. And the suggestion was, well, as part of continuing to rehabilitate and get better, start doing some weights. So I started doing weights, and then my sons encouraged me and said, Mom, if you want to get strong and fit, lifting weights is a good way to do it.
Oh, wait, so they're the ones who actually suggested it?
Well, in the gym, Frank suggested I do weights because I needed to keep my ankle off exercise anyway. So lifting weights was part of continuing to work out. And then my sons encouraged me and said, yes, Mom, go for it. Keep lifting. So I started lifting. And then last year, Frank set me some goals for the end of the year. But by the middle of the year, I had hit the goals he was hoping I would hit at the end of the year. So then he set me new goals. And I think that's what made him now suggest that maybe I should try for this competition. And I thought, well, it's within my line of fitness, so I may as well go for it.
What? Now, you didn't emerge top. There was Masi Obiero who won the day, took away the home prize, 80,000 bob?
Yes. I definitely did not come first. And I think congratulations to her. She did an excellent job. But I was way out of my league. She's an Olympic representative for Kenya and Commonwealth. So I was way out of my league. I went to just do my best, put my best foot forward and do the best that I could, which I think is what everybody should do. You do your best. And at the end of the day, I thought, well, I've done what I could have done, and I thought I was done. I didn't realize it was sort of going to go viral. And that the question would then be raised, so why is this 57 going 58-year-old grandmother lifting weights?
That's true. That is so true. But when I saw it, the very first thing for me was, I am so inspired. Why? Because a lot of us don't work out, and we're very unhealthy. And I bet you see all of the non-communicable diseases now on the rise, and you see more people losing their lives to diseases that we never used to be, affected, especially not on this side of the world. And now we're seeing more and more of that. And the number one of trying to, counter all of that is exercising. Very true, Amina. The number one of counteracting that is exercising. But there's another important part to it, diet. You can never out-exercise a bad diet. You just can't. So it's eating healthy, but it's also moving. And many of our jobs are sedentary. Like my job requires a lot of thinking, but it doesn't actually use a lot of physical energy. And so my way of also managing stress is, when you go into the gym and you do a good workout, you come out feeling a lot better.
you're energized, you're able to think better. And so it's a very good way of managing stress, but also staying healthy. And if you think about it, sometimes people say, well, it's expensive. I think what's the choice between paying for medicines for hypertension and for diabetes versus maybe paying a little bit of money and getting fit? I think it's a no-brainer. There's very little choice there.
Exactly, and we see a lot of people asking for funds. Please help us, because healthcare is expensive in this country. I mean, around the world it is, but then it's just very expensive in this country. And then the route is to maybe eat better, organic especially, right? And you're right, we sit, let me tell you, so we sit, like on my show, I sit before I got here, you sit in the cars, you come here, then you just walk maybe between here to the lifts. You know, it's terrible. And now I hear that, you know, that the silent killer that's taking a lot of lives is, I'm trying to remember, vein thrombosis, and I'm trying to remember the...
Deep venous thrombosis.
Yeah, exactly, deep vein thrombosis, which is a silent killer. So what happens is people get on board of planes, or aboard a plane, and then before you get off at 15, 20 hours, especially if it's a long-haul flight, you find that someone has passed on.
It is definitely one of the killers. But yes, you're absolutely right. Sitting and then sitting some more, and you add to that a diet that's not healthy, you're asking for trouble. But many women are concerned about lifting weights because they fear that I'm going to become very muscular, I'll become very bulky, I'll start looking like a man. But it's not true. Our bodies are built differently. And when you build muscle and then you cut down fat, you actually look a lot better. You're well-toned, you're stronger, and you will feel a lot better. So I really would encourage more women. You don't have to enter Kenya's Strongest Man competition, but you can definitely lift weights because it will help you build muscle and it will help you with your overall form and health.
Now, take me through how it is. So how is your workout regimen? Because you're very busy, right? So, so how many hours is it per day? Is it per week? How do you schedule your workout regimen?
Well, hours per day, it's not my full-time job. I actually have a job, so there are other things. And in addition to that, my job requires a lot of travel. So a lot of times I am not around because of travel. And when you travel, there's no guarantee you're going to find a place where you can work out. And so often there isn't a gym, or if there is a gym, it opens at odd hours, or it opens after you're already at the meeting that you're attending. And so it's not always easy to work out. It requires a lot of discipline. So would I say that my gym workout is very intensive? When I am around, yes. Usually I will go to the gym in the morning before I go to work, and I will do weights or do part of a class. And then at lunchtime, part of my lunchtime break, I actually go back to the gym. It's also trying to make sure that I'm making good use of my gym subscription because I'm often away. So I'm trying to really maximize use on it. And one of the things that I've learned to enjoy is actually doing boxing and kickboxing. Because I've found it's a very good cardio workout. So it really pushes your energy levels. It really works you out very well. So that's what I also do. And then many times in the evening, because I work with people who are in a different time zone, so when we are going to sleep, people in North America are waking up. I'm often on conference calls late. I'm often working and, you know, working into the night sometimes, and not very late. I try to have a regular sleeping time. So I will again go to the gym in the evening and do a light workout. So when I'm around, I try to be diligent about doing that. And I found that it really helps. Just the consistency of making sure that I do go in and I do get part of a workout.
Now, after, you know, you went viral, I imagine that there was an impact that you conveyed. It was not what you expected, maybe. What are some of the misconceptions now that people saw you? They were like, oh, because the headline, you know, talking about, oh, it's a grandmother lifting weights. And, you know, like, your muscle, because the first thing when you came in, I was like, oh, I want to feel your muscles, right? And then you said, no. Hakuna muscles.
Right? No, they are muscles, for sure. They're muscles.
Oh, wow, actually flex your arm.
Oh, yeah, I can flex my arm. They're
Now, for a lot of, you know, maybe, first answer that. I was going to ask, you know, for women, they are very conscious of that. But what maybe message did you convey that was not your intention?
I think the message probably that was conveyed was that you don't have to be young in order to push the limits of fitness. I think I was a good 17 years older than any of the other competitors, both male and female. So maybe the surprise was just my age to start off with. I know when I competed in Mombasa, which is where I did the preliminaries, one of the organizers came to ask me, because we'd written our ages, did you write your age correctly? And I said, yes, I did. And he said, you're the age of my mother. And I said, yeah, I expect to be because you look like you're the age of my son. So I think the age factor was something that probably pushed the limits. But the second issue was perhaps the fact that I've had the privilege of having a good education. I've had many opportunities to expand my education. People also think that maybe when you have a PhD or you have several degrees, you won't work out. Working out is for people who didn't make it in school or who didn't get an opportunity to go to school. And again, that is not true. Then maybe the third thing is that when you're a grandmother, you should be sitting down and doing something else with yourself and not necessarily physical activity. So maybe that's a third myth that was also busted.
Very many myths. But you know what keeps you active or keeps you really young? Having boys. So you have 4 boys?
I have 4 boys, but I don't think it's necessarily just the boys that keep one young. Even girls will keep one young because, you know, the children they're a gift from God. So it's not like you can always make a choice unless you're adopting. Then you can make a choice. But
no,
otherwise,
but like, you know, because boys
come.
run around all day. You know, like they're constantly active, just jumping off like tables and very different. Girls are a lot calmer.
I've met girls who jump off tables, who jump off very high things, and I think probably I was also one of those girls when I was a little younger who pushed the limits even then in many ways. My siblings say that the moment I could start talking, I started telling them what to do and I never stopped. So I think everybody, both boys and girls, have the opportunity to do things. But yes, it is true that boys will often take more risks. And a 3-year-old boy is more likely to try and jump off the top of a table than a 3-year-old girl is, in general. But that's not to stereotype all the time. There are many young women who are just as adventurous as any young man you would come across.
All right. Well, there you go. Thank you so much, Prof, for coming on to our show. Now, whether you liked it or not, you're now an inspiration to very many people. It's cutting across agendas. Of course, I mean, more women, yes, but then everyone's just really inspired by what you've done and at the age that you've done it. So we hope that we'll get to see more pictures and more videos of your workout regimen and you just, you know, lifting weights. But what do you tell people who are watching the show right now?
Well, I guess what I would say to them is that it's never too late to start. When I was in high school, nobody would have picked me for any sports. I was the nerd who spent a lot of time probably reading, and I didn't make it to any of the school teams. So it doesn't matter what age you start at. You can always start, and every step can lead you to getting better than where you are. Just say, push the limits. Don't stop.
Push the limits. Do not stop. I feel like that's also a message that Eliud Kipchoge was trying to pass on as well. Just you could push the limits as far as you possibly can. All right, so thank you so much, Professor Elizabeth Bukusi, our guest. After the break, we're going to be sitting down with Elani. Yes, they are here and they have a lot to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back on The Trend.